Have you ever had one of those mornings where you sit on the edge of the bed, stare at the floor, and think, why does everything feel just a little bit harder than it used to? The stairs seem steeper, your arms don't quite have the same strength they had a decade ago, and the idea of walking around the block feels more like a chore than a pleasure. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know you're not alone. But what might surprise you is that a major reason behind that sluggishness could be tied to something we often overlook: our blood pressure. And more importantly, how one simple exercise that most seniors ignore could help bring it back down. Gently, naturally, and right from your own living room. Now, I'm not here to lecture or hand you a list of things you're doing wrong. That's not what this is about. I'm here to offer hope, practical, encouraging hope, rooted in something small you can start doing today. Because while your energy may not be what it was at 40, your body is still capable of amazing things when given the right kind of care and movement. You see, there's a quiet connection between movement and blood pressure that gets more important as we age. For years, we were told to take it easy once we hit our golden years. But doctors today are finding the opposite to be true. Gentle, intentional movement is one of the most powerful tools we have to support heart health after 60. And no, I'm not talking about sweating it out on a treadmill or lifting weights until your arms feel like jelly. I'm talking about something that's deceptively simple, yet deeply effective: wall push-ups. Before you roll your eyes and say, that sounds too easy to matter, hear me out. Because 99% of people over 60 underestimate this one movement. And yet the research and real-life stories say otherwise. Let's rewind a bit. What exactly is happening in your body when you do a wall push-up? Well, for starters, you're activating your chest, arms, shoulders, and upper back. That may sound obvious, but what's not obvious is the effect that has on your cardiovascular system. Each time you push away from the wall, your muscles contract and demand oxygen. That signals your heart to pump more blood more efficiently. And when done consistently, that repeated action can help regulate how hard your heart has to work, even when you're resting. Here's something most people don't realize. The health of your upper body muscles directly influences your heart's workload. We're talking improved circulation, reduced resistance in your arteries, and even more elasticity in your blood vessels. All things that help keep your blood pressure from creeping too high. The beauty of wall push-ups is that they provide that gentle resistance training your heart thrives on without straining your joints or leaving you sore the next day. I once met a gentleman named Leonard, 74 years old, retired postal worker, full of stories and skepticism. He told me, wall push-ups? That's for weaklings. But after a little nudge from his daughter and some warning signs from his doctor, he gave it a try. Just 10 push-ups a day against the hallway wall. After a month, his blood pressure dropped 12 points. But more than that, he said he felt steadier, more confident, like he wasn't just sitting back and waiting for age to catch up to him. That's the part that doesn't show up in medical charts, the emotional boost. When you can move your body, even in small ways, you start believing in your own strength again. That belief is powerful. It changes how you move through the day. Suddenly, you're reaching for things on the top shelf again. You're walking to the mailbox instead of waiting for someone else to do it. You're standing taller, literally and figuratively. Now, if the idea of starting an exercise routine feels overwhelming, let's simplify it. You don't need a trainer or a fancy routine. Just stand about arm's length from the wall, place your hands flat at shoulder height, and slowly bend your elbows as you lean in. Then press back out. Go slow. Breathe. Focus. That's it. You can do 5 in the morning while brushing your teeth. 5 more while waiting for the kettle to boil. Before you know it, it's part of your rhythm, and your body will thank you for it. What I love most about this movement is that it meets you exactly where you are. Whether you're 60 or 90, mobile or using a walker, this is one exercise that doesn't demand more than you can give, but gives back so much more than you expect. It's a gentle conversation with your body that says, I still believe in you. And for so many of us, that's a conversation we haven't had in a while. Wall push-ups may not make headlines, but they're making a quiet difference in homes across the country. People like you, reclaiming strength, lowering their blood pressure, and perhaps most importantly, regaining a sense of control in a stage of life where so much can feel unpredictable. So the next time you walk past a wall, and let's be honest, we all have a few, take a moment. Place your hands on it. Lean in. Push out. Start small. Start slow. But start. Because while this might be the most ignored exercise for seniors, it could also be the one that changes how you feel. Heart, mind, and body. Let's keep going, because there's another simple movement you've probably never thought of as heart healthy, but it absolutely is. Now, once you've started building a little confidence with wall push-ups, there's another quiet powerhouse of a movement that deserves your attention. And I'm willing to bet you've done it 1,000 times without even realizing its potential. The chair squat. Think about it. How many times a day do you sit down and stand up from a chair? Maybe to eat a meal, maybe to watch TV, maybe just to rest. But here's the thing most people miss. Every time you lower your body and lift it back up, you're activating some of the biggest, most important muscles in your body. And those muscles, your thighs, your glutes, your hips, aren't just about mobility. They're deeply connected to your blood pressure, your circulation, and even your heart. Let's break it down a bit. When you strengthen your leg muscles, you're improving something called venous return. That's a fancy term for how efficiently your blood makes its way back up to your heart from the lower parts of your body. Strong legs help that blood travel upward with less effort, reducing the pressure your heart has to generate to keep everything moving. That, in turn, helps bring your blood pressure down naturally, without a new prescription or complicated routine. I once spoke with Martha, a soft-spoken 82-year-old woman from Oregon who said she used to dread getting out of her recliner. Her knees ached, and she'd often feel lightheaded when she stood. But instead of giving up, she started doing something brave. She began practicing chair squats, just 5 a day, holding the arms of her chair for support. At first, she said it felt silly, even frustrating. But she kept at it. 3 weeks later, she was doing 10 squats without using her hands. More importantly, she wasn't dizzy anymore. Her blood pressure readings had improved, and she said she finally felt like her body was working with her instead of against her. That's what we sometimes forget. Consistency, not intensity, is what makes the biggest difference. Chair squats don't look flashy. You won't break a sweat or feel like you've just run a marathon. But what you're doing is teaching your body to activate its core, its balance, and its blood flow, all in one simple movement. Let's talk about the movement itself. Sit in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the ground and your knees over your ankles. Cross your arms over your chest, or use the arms of the chair for support if you need to. Then, press through your heels and slowly rise to a standing position. Pause, then slowly lower yourself back down. Under control, not just plopping into the seat. That part, control, is where the magic happens. It's what wakes up your muscles and tells your body, we're still in this game. And while the physical benefits are huge, there's a mental side to this as well. As we age, one of the most common fears, though not always spoken out loud, is the fear of falling. It's understandable. A bad fall can change everything. But here's the truth. The more you practice standing up on your own, the more you rebuild the strength and confidence that keep you steady. That feeling of, I've got this, isn't just in your mind. It's in your muscles too. Another unexpected bonus, chair squats actually help regulate blood sugar levels. That might seem unrelated at first, but your blood sugar, your circulation, and your blood pressure are all part of the same intricate system. When you engage your largest muscles, they pull more glucose from your bloodstream and help stabilize your energy throughout the day. You might even notice you don't get that afternoon crash quite so often. Now maybe you're thinking, that's all well and good, but I've got arthritis in my knees. Or, my balance isn't what it used to be. I hear you. That's why this movement is so beautiful. It can be adapted. If a full chair squat is too much, start by simply shifting your weight forward and standing halfway up, then sitting back down. Or keep your hands on the chair arms for stability. The point isn't perfection, it's participation. Every time you rise from that chair, you're choosing strength over stagnation. And I'll tell you something else. The more you do it, the more your heart notices. It may not say thank you out loud, but it will thank you in steadier rhythms, in calmer numbers at your next checkup, and in that deep sigh of relief when your body feels just a little lighter. Now, while we're on the topic of circulation and blood pressure, there's another underrated exercise that works in perfect harmony with chair squats, and you can do it right beside your kitchen counter, your bed, or even while brushing your teeth. I'm talking about leg raises. These small but mighty movements are one of the best ways to reawaken the lower body and promote healthy blood flow back to the heart. And just like wall push-ups and chair squats, they require no equipment, no schedule, no pressure, just you and a bit of space. Let me walk you through it. While seated or lying down, slowly lift one leg a few inches off the ground, keeping it straight. Hold for a few seconds, then lower it with control. Alternate legs and focus on breathing slowly and deeply as you go. That's it. It might not look like much, but inside, there's a lot going on. You're firing up the thighs and the calves, giving your blood a gentle nudge upward, and signaling to your heart that help is on the way. There's also something deeply satisfying about leg raises. They give you this quiet sense of, I'm doing something good for myself, especially on days when energy is low or your joints feel stiff. I remember Ethel, an 81-year-old widow who told me she used to feel invisible in her own home. But after doing leg raises daily while watching her favorite shows, she said she began walking more confidently, gripping the banister less, and smiling more. I stopped feeling fragile, she said, and that sentence in itself is a form of healing. So whether you're doing 5 or 15, whether you feel strong or shaky today, I want to remind you, your body hears you. Every effort counts. These movements might not feel dramatic, but their effects certainly are. Let's keep this momentum going, because the next movement we'll explore is one that not only brings blood pressure down, but lifts your entire posture and mood along with it. By now, you might be realizing something powerful. Lowering blood pressure doesn't have to be about medications or strict routines. Sometimes it's about coming back to the body you've lived in for 60, 70, even 90 years, and offering it a bit of movement, a bit of breath, and a lot of kindness. And there's one more movement I want to share with you today. It's often overlooked because of how basic it looks, but it might just be the most important one of all, the standing wall stretch. Yes, a stretch. Simple? Yes. Passive? Not at all. Because when done mindfully, the standing wall stretch does something extraordinary. It opens up your chest, realigns your posture, and encourages deep breathing. All of that adds up to better oxygen flow, calmer nerves, and you guessed it, lower blood pressure. Let's talk about posture for a moment. As we age, we tend to curve inward. Our shoulders round, our necks crane forward, and before we know it, we're walking through the world with a posture that says, I'm tired, even when we don't mean to. This curved posture doesn't just affect how we look. It compresses the lungs, restricts circulation, and sends stress signals to the brain. The result? Shallow breathing, elevated blood pressure, and a body that feels older than it really is. The wall stretch gently pulls you back into alignment. Here's how to do it. Stand facing a wall, about 1 foot away. Place your palms on the wall at shoulder height. Slowly step 1 foot back, keeping both feet flat on the ground. Let your hips gently shift back as your chest moves toward the wall. You'll feel a stretch across your shoulders, your chest, and maybe even your calves. Breathe deeply. Hold it for 15 to 30 seconds, then slowly return to standing. Repeat a few times a day. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How can a stretch possibly affect my heart? But here's the thing. Every time you take a deep, open-breasted breath, you tell your nervous system, we're safe. And when your nervous system believes you're safe, it eases its grip. Your blood vessels relax, your heart rate slows, your blood pressure drops. It's not magic. It's your body returning to balance. One woman who swears by this is Darlene, a retired librarian from Texas. She told me she started doing the wall stretch after noticing how hunched she'd become while reading. I felt like a question mark, she said, half joking. But after just 2 weeks of daily wall stretching, she noticed more than better posture. Her resting blood pressure, which had been inching up for years, dropped 8 points. And for the first time in ages, she said, she could take a full breath without feeling like she was gasping through a straw. It's these tiny victories that matter. They remind us we're not helpless. We have tools, simple ones, that can shift our bodies, our health, and our outlook. Now, maybe you've tried other forms of exercise in the past and felt discouraged. Maybe the routines were too hard, too fast, or left you feeling sore and defeated. That's not your fault. Most fitness advice isn't written for people in their 70s or 80s. But this is different. These movements honor where you are now. They're not about pushing harder, they're about moving smarter. Because the truth is, your body still wants to move. It still wants to support you, and the moment you give it a chance, it will show up for you. Whether it's wall push-ups, chair squats, leg raises, or gentle stretches, each of these movements sends a message to your heart. You're still in control. One of my favorite things to ask viewers like you is this: what's one movement your body is still proud it can do? For some, it's standing up without help. For others, it's making it through a walk around the block. And for many, it's these very exercises we've talked about, movements that don't require a gym, a personal trainer, or even leaving the house. Just imagine what would happen if you committed to even one of these exercises each day. Not perfectly, not in some dramatic transformation, but quietly, consistently. A few push-ups while brushing your teeth, a few squats before breakfast, a stretch at the wall when the afternoon sun hits just right. These moments add up. They build strength. They lower stress. They whisper to your heart, you're supported. And here's something else I want you to remember. This journey isn't just about numbers on a blood pressure cuff. It's about reclaiming your energy, your confidence, your independence. When you feel strong, you show up differently in life. You carry yourself with more pride. You smile more. You engage more. You stop seeing aging as a slow decline and start seeing it as a season of possibility. So I want to leave you with a question. Which of these movements are you ready to try today? Not tomorrow. Not when you feel like it, but today. Even just one. Tell me in the comments, because your answer might just inspire someone else who's reading. And if you found this video helpful, if something in it sparked a light inside you, I hope you'll hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure that little bell is turned on so you won't miss future videos like this. We're building a community here, a place of encouragement, knowledge, and action for those of us who refuse to settle for decline. Because you're not done yet. Your body still wants to move, your heart still wants to thrive, and your life, no matter your age, is still worth investing in. Here's to lower blood pressure, deeper breaths, stronger steps, and the joy that comes from knowing you still have power in your own two hands. Until next time, stay kind to yourself and keep moving forward.